The revolution's begun. The time to stand up has come. We are the rocking of the throne. We are the rocking of the throne.
I'm Victor Tiffany with Revolt Against Plutocracy, the Burn Your Bust organizers. This video is going to be a response to one of our critics at the end. I'm also going to update one of our tactics regarding a general strike. The next one is scheduled for June 1st. But first, an announcement. We are trying to get Bernie Sanders to restart his campaign. We know that seems far-fetched. We understand it. Right now we want organizational support to sign a letter. I'll provide a link to that letter. It's published on Medium. I'll provide a link in the comment section, so that, or the description rather, of this video, so that you can read it. And if you know somebody who's in an organization, ask them to have the organization either endorse or co-sponsor that letter. Sign it, in effect. In that letter is also a link to a change.org petition asking Joe Biden to drop out. He is as weak of a candidate as you can imagine. He's suffering from clear cognitive decline, and no, that's not a myth, that's a fact, and it's pretty evident. And now these rape allegations by Tara Reade are getting more and more play. He's just become an extremely weak candidate. In fact, voting for him would be an act that's highly irresponsible and a slap in the face to the Me Too movement. So read that letter, sign the petition, and try to get organizational support to endorse our effort to get Bernie Sanders to restart his campaign. In the last video, we talked about a general strike and who all should strike and should not strike. Obviously, the healthcare workers shouldn't strike, right? We're in the midst of a pandemic. Those are the people who, unfortunately for them, need to keep working. It's what needs to do in order to prevent the slaughter of American people that was brought on by Trump's utter incompetence. Obviously, they need to get to work, so transit workers also are exempted, and energy, right, because transit runs on energy. Doctors going to a rural hospital need to gas up their vehicles to get back and forth to work. So we exempted all of them, but we included all food workers. And where we make the change in my recent guest appearance on Howl Underground, which is the new name for Burn Your Bust Television. I'll provide a link to that too below, so you can get over there and subscribe. RAP committee member Alan Howe is doing a great job talking about general strike, talking about revolution, talking about Joe Biden, and so forth. So it's just a great YouTube channel to subscribe to and listen to. So again, I'll provide a link to that. What the difference is this time is we think for-profit food workers should participate in the general strike. Volunteers should not. If you're in a restaurant working for somebody who's trying to make a profit, go on strike for that day or a week or however long they call this next general strike for. But if you're in a restaurant that's being paid money either from charity or from the government to make meals, to supply meals and carry them over to hospital workers, that's a different story. That's a volunteer operation. So if you're working for a food bank, keep working. If you're working to basically any non-profit food operation, go ahead, keep working, supply food to the healthcare workers who need it. But everyone else on the next general strike should just stay home. Call in that you're on strike, call in sick, call in any way you want. That's up to you whether you want to fib or lie or just tell the truth. But on the next one, if you're for profit, whether a cashier or somebody who stocks the shelves, a truck driver, any role in a for-profit food operation other than farmers, obviously we want them to keep working so that we have food next autumn and next year. Other than farmers, if you're in a for-profit food operation, participate in the general strike. That's how we put leverage on Congress. Otherwise, in our view, Congress will just ignore a general strike that goes on for a day, that's for sure, for a week even, unless people are clamoring to meet the strikers' demands. And that will happen, or at least is more likely to happen, if far more food workers participate in the general strike. Now I'm going to address a critic, an anonymous critic, goes by the name of Cincinnati Democrat. I don't know if it's a male or female, but this person, writing on the extra news feed, claims that Bernie busters are the new Republicans. That's the name of his or her piece. And it begins with an interesting sentence. Political ideologies are generally judged by the loudest voices who articulate them. I've studied political ideology most of my life. I've never heard that before. If you agree with that, if you've heard that, not necessarily whether you agree with that, if you've heard that before, leave a comment and let me know where. I don't know who's ever said that. This Democrat, this obviously blue no matter who Democrat, continues. Unfortunately for Bernie Sanders' movement, the loudest voices who remain invested in Bernie 2020 are being obnoxious again. For some reason, in the name of party unity, traditional Democrats are expected to turn the other cheek and accept criticism from cynical left, so we don't alienate the vast majority of Bernie supporters who handled his exit and endorsement of Bernie with grace. First of all, we're not cynical. We're critical. We're critical of neoliberalism. We're critical of Joe Biden. Right? He's an accused rapist. He's a warmonger. He's the he's the senator, or was the senator of big banks. And he's suffering from dementia, but I'll get to that in a moment. These folks are Democrats, and those folks are Democrats, and they don't deserve to be included in the criticisms of their worst members. That being said, the Democratic Party is waging a war against an authoritarian neo-fascist regime. We're waging a war against a neoliberal regime. That's Bernie or bust. Back to the article. Anyone inhibiting our ability to fight this war is an ally of the Republicans. In other words, anyone who won't vote for a demented warmonger is allied with the Republicans. You can't be never Bernie, you can't be never Biden and never Trump. He's expressing the logic of somebody locked inside the two-party mental prison. Right? If you're not with Biden, why, you're just with Trump by logic, even though you might vote for a Green Party candidate or a Socialist Party candidate, which is the Bernie or bust strategy. After Bernie Sanders exited the race and endorsed Joe Biden, his campaign left an ideological vacuum. Bernie or bust has again joined in on the attacks against the Democratic Party's efforts to fight the regime, utilizing the same tactics and methods used by the Republicans. There's a massively false claim. I wish we had millions of dollars so that we could run ad campaigns like the Republicans do. But in fact, we don't. That's just strictly a false claim on the face of it. We're going to use tactics to attack Joe Biden if he's the Democratic Party nominee in this fall, but we don't have the kind of ad budget to use the same methods and tactics as the Republicans. This person continues, unlike Sanders himself, Bernie or busters have chosen to respond to his exit and endorsement of Biden by indirectly joining forces with Trump campaign to vilify Joe Biden and smear the Democratic Party. First of all, we were vilifying Joe Biden long before Bernie dropped out. We've been doing this since the time we announced this Bernie or bust back in April of a year ago. Over a year ago, April of 2019. And we don't smear the Democratic Party. We tell the truth about the Democratic Party. Right? You don't have to smear a party that's corrupt. You don't have to smear a party that's in bed with big business. You just tell the truth about the Democratic Party, and that's basically our strategy. This person continues, they've given up on the fight against the president who banned immigration and the party who tried to take health care from 20 million Americans over 70 times because Joe Biden doesn't pass every purity test they gave him. Wrong. Joe Biden doesn't pass any purity test. Joe Biden aligns with us on no policy whatsoever. Not war, not economics, not even the coronavirus. His response has been lame and basically what Trump is arguing for, only better. It's just lame. Back to the article. Thomas E. Mann of left-leaning Brookings Institute and Norman J. Ornstein of the right-leaning American Enterprise Institute have studied partisan politics for years, each of them offering a fair analysis of each side of the aisle. Together they wrote a bombshell 2012 op-ed titled, Let's Just Say It, Republicans Are the Problem. Wrong. Neoliberals are the problem. Back to the article. In an editorial, they argue that following the Tea Party revolution, the Republican Party had fully absorbed the politics of extremism, as they put it. Quote, the GOP has become an insurgent outlier in American politics. It is ideologically extreme, scornful of compromise, unmoved by conventional understanding of facts, evidence and science, and dismissive of its political opposition. Let's just say it, Bernie or busters are the Republicans of the left. So I'm basically going to stop there reading this article. You can go ahead and read on more of it. He doesn't like the fact that we're claiming Biden is demented. Biden's demented. What he's doing is gaslighting his audience by trying to claim Biden's not suffering from cognitive decline. Bernie or busters never recommended voting Republican. Ever. We oppose Republicans as much as we oppose neoliberal Democrats. You know who are the Republicans of the left? The Sanders-Trump swing voters. The Obama-Trump swing voters. There's millions more of both than there are Bernie or busters. They voted for Trump. They're the new Republicans of the left, except they're not so much on the left. We are the new Greens, or the new socialists of the left. So only if you're locked inside a two-party mental prison, that's not even, the doors are open. All you have to do is walk out and say, oh, you don't like blue and you don't like red. Okay, you're green, you're socialist, whatever. And if he's going to, or she's going to criticize new Republicans on the left, she ought to talk about people who are voting for Trump, like the Sanders-Trump swing voters, as I said, or the Obama-Trump swing voters. Voters Biden has no interest in trying to win back. He's just not even trying. He even said in an interview he wasn't going to try to get these working class voters back. Let's go back to his list. He claims that, like the GOP, we've become ideological extreme. We support Bernie Sanders' ideology. That's not extreme. In the American ideology, that's clearly on the left. But in the broad worldwide ideology, Bernie Sanders is center left. It's not extreme at all. We're not scornful of compromise either. In fact, something we have quietly offered the Biden campaign is a willingness to not come out against it, to not vote Green, to not vote Socialist Party, to not run ads or campaign against Biden from the left in the general election if, this is the compromise, he selects Bernie Sanders as his vice president. So we're willing to compromise. Unmoved by conventional understanding of facts. Well, as we said, he's already gaslighting his readers by claiming that calling Joe Biden demented is a smear. That's a fact, and we have an understanding of the facts. We support facts. So that's nonsense. Evidence and science. We support evidence. Well, there's plenty of evidence of Biden's dementia, for example. We support climate change science. We support Tara Reid's claims. We believe Tara Reid, that she was sexually assaulted by Joe Biden. But if you want to betray the entire Me Too movement, then dismiss Tara Reid's claims. And adding dismissive of the legitimacy of its political opposition. Now that part's true. We are dismissive of the legitimacy of neoliberalism. That's the disease. That's what's killing us. That's what's killing this planet. And yes, neo-fascism will do it faster. But neo-fascism, particularly Trump, is a symptom of this disease. People rejected Hillary Clinton, and just like they're going to reject, these same swing voters are going to reject Joe Biden because they're sick and tired of having their jobs outsourced to other countries. Joe Biden supports the Trans-Pacific Partnership. And that's going to be worse if it ever comes to pass and gets passed by Congress. That's going to be worse than 9 Trump Supreme Court judges. That'll be bad. That'll set us back. But the TPP will move us forward into a corporate crafted world order, a quote-unquote new world order, according to Joe Biden. So this idea that, Bernie Busters are going to be the downfall of the Democratic Party. No, neoliberalism is the downfall of the Democratic Party. We're finally demanding the Democrats take their progressive roots back. The Democrat actually become a party of opposition to the Republican Party rather than collaborators. In fact, for the most part, they are. Look at the congressional votes. Who's been voting for Trump's military budget, Pentagon budget? People like Elizabeth Warren voted for all of his military budgets. So this idea that, we're to blame if Joe Biden loses is nonsense, just like it would have been nonsense 4 years ago for Hillary Clinton's defeat. She's defeated by these swing voters who are abandoning the Democratic Party. The working class is abandoning the Democratic Party, and for good reason. The Democratic Party has abandoned them. Thank you for your time. I'm going to wrap this up so that I don't keep you for much longer. My name is Victor Tiffany, signing out for now. Thanks again.
Revolt Against Plutocracy won't just be covering the news about the necessary revolution in the United States. Sometimes we'll be making the news. If you want to stay on top of the revolutionary actions and strategies of grassroots, genuine progressives, and our allies, please subscribe to our YouTube channel today.